Hi, welcome to the Brewing channel. I'm Joey.
And I'm Mike.
Welcome back to season 3 of the Brewing channel. Today we're going to be doing a chocolate strawberry stout. So sit back, relax, and we'll show you how it's done. Okay, so on today's episode, we're going to need a few things. We're going to need cocoa nibs, yeast nutrients, lactose, frozen strawberries, pale ale Viking grains. We need flaked oats, rice hulls, Magnum pellet hops, SafAle yeast, a dark crystal 77L crisps, black malt Briess, and then some chocolate malt Briess. I would pick it up, but there's a little hole on it. Okay, so today's episode, we're going to need a few things. We're going to need a mixing spoon, measuring container, wort chiller, and we're going to need a 12-quart stock pot for our sparge water.
We'll also need our fermenter with airlock, our hydrometer. We'll need our strainer. We'll have our sanitizer, along with our spray bottle for easy sanitation. We're going to have 6.2 gallons for the strike water and then 1 gallon for the sparge. And today we'll be using our Anvil foundry at 120 volts. Alrighty, so we got our 6.2 gallons of strike water, just about to 160 degrees. Now this took about an hour using our Anvil at 120 volts. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get it to 160 and then we're going to turn our power down, which is going to allow us to get to our mash temperature to 156. So we're going to go ahead and start with our 10-pound 8 ounces of our pale malt. And this is the Viking pale malt. Joe, if you want to help stir this in. So we're going to start slowly pouring this in, and we're going to make sure that we're going to do a continuous stir because we don't want this to clog as we're doing our recirculation. So we're going to go ahead and add our 1 pound 8 ounces of the flaked oats, and we're going to just mix this in a little bit at a time and place in some of our rice hulls to make sure that, again, we're not getting a stuck mash. Next, we're going to put our 8 ounce of the chocolate malt. Then we're going to do our 8 ounce of the black malt. And then to end this, we're going to do the 8 ounce of the dark crystal. Once we finish placing in all our grain, we're going to let this steep for 10 minutes. This will allow the circulation to flow a lot easier.
Okay, so now that we're up to temperature, we're going to start our circulation process. So we're going to turn this knob here. And we're going to power the unit on. And what we want is a medium to slow pour, which is pretty good right there. And this is gonna go for a total of 1 hour, and we're gonna stir every 15 minutes. And what we want to do is make sure that our power is between 60 to 80%. And the reason why is because we don't want the anvil's fan constantly running and doing more work than it needs to.
All right, one thing that we want to make sure we mention is 40 minutes into the mash that we're making sure that we're getting our sparge up to 170. That's going to be a gallon of water. So after that hour is up, we went ahead and we turned the unit up to 170, turn the power up, make it a little bit faster. And basically, we're still letting our grain sit in there so that it's really loosening things up, getting them sugars ready to be extracted when we go ahead and do our sparge. So this is 170. We're going to go ahead and lift this guy up. So this is starting to drain. Joey, could you go ahead and get me that water? And again, I want to mention that this is basically just grabbing any of the leftover sugar that's in these grains. Anvil does a very nice job having all these holes on the lid so that we are evenly dispersing the water across the grain. So we're going to do this slowly. Once all the liquid is drained, we're going to go ahead, we're going to turn this up to 100% and we're going to set this to a boil. And then once it gets to the boil, this thing's going to run for an hour.
Okay, so now that we've reached our temperature of 212, this is going to start to boil. And this will run for 1 hour. And the first thing we're going to do is put our Magnum pellet hops, and it's a total of 1 ounce. And then in the last 15 minutes of the boil, we're going to put in our wort chiller. And the reason why is because we wanted to start sanitizing in the wort. At the last 10 minutes, we're going to put in our yeast nutrients. At the last 5 minutes, we're going to put a half a tablet of the Whirlflock Clarifier. After the boil, we're going to put 4 ounces of cocoa nibs. Also after boil, we're going to put 8 ounces of lactose. And lastly, after the boil, we're going to put in our strawberry fruit puree. Okay, now that we're at the end of the boil and we've inserted all of our ingredients, we're going to turn off our unit. And from this point on, everything touching the wort needs to be sanitized. We're going to cool down our wort between 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And the reason we don't want to do this is because we don't want to kill the yeast.
All right, so we went ahead and got our wort down to a cool 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to bring this over and do a quick hydrometer reading. And it's looking like we're at 1.072. So now we're going to put this off to the side and we're going to go ahead and start pitching the yeast. So let's go ahead, let's sanitize our scissors and the yeast packet, cut it open, and we're going to start dumping this in. So now that we have the yeast in the wort, we're going to go ahead and shake this up for about a minute, maybe even 30 seconds, since gravity has already helped with the aeration by adding the oxidant to this. And basically what this is doing at a high level, this is allowing the yeast to grow and multiply so the new yeast can eat up the sugars and create the alcohol. But be careful if you shake for too long. This has caused oxidation, which will add some off flavors to your beer. Now that the yeast is pitched and we've shaken it up, it's ready to go sit downstairs for fermentation. So we have our airlock filled with sanitizer. This is going to sit in a cool, dark place for about 2 weeks. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and take a quick gravity reading, make sure numbers aren't changing, just to confirm fermentation is done. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and bottle it, and then wait another 2 weeks, and bam, ready to go. You'll be able to drink your chocolate strawberry stout. So everyone, thanks for watching. Big shout out to Clawhammer. We kind of based the recipe off that one, so thank you. Happy brewing for 2024. Looking forward to hanging out with everyone. All right, everybody. So our chocolate strawberry stout is ready to go finally. This ended up finishing at 6%. And Joey, I think this is going to be our first grain to glass. So let's go ahead, give this a try, and see if this actually tastes decent. Whoop, whoop. Ooh, hear that carbonation? Yeah. So this will be our first time tasting this, so we will be surprised whether it's going to be good or not. Wait for me.
Thank you, good stuff. It almost looks like Coca-Cola.
It does.
No, we can like just taste it. Let's go.
Let's see where this goes. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
It tastes a lot of the strawberry, so I think like we went overboard with how many strawberries we ended up using. So that's nice. We were expecting a strawberry taste. I'm not sure if I'm really tasting the chocolate like I thought I would.
Yeah.
But it is good because I like when it comes to a stout to be more chocolate than coffee.
It's subtle.
So even though that I'm not really tasting the chocolate, I'm very glad that we're not getting overpowered with a coffee taste.
You can taste this, like the strawberries. It's like it's mild, but it's not overpowering, and the chocolate flavor to it, it's kind of like more in the background.
Yeah, like the aftertaste.
Yeah.
So I guess overall it's pretty balanced.
Yeah.
Would you say? Yeah. So damn, this ended up being a really good one. So would you want to brew this again?
Yeah, for sure. I think I would like to brew it again and think not use as many strawberries.
Yeah. Would you want to add more of?
We used a lot. Yeah. We did use a lot. I think like if we just toned down on the strawberries a little bit, just I think what do we use, like 3 pounds last time?
Something ridiculous. I'll have to look back. Yeah. How about the chocolate? Would you want to try to get a little bit more chocolate in there, or are you fine at the level that it's at?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine. For me personally, I think it's like just enough. It's balanced enough. Like you could you could tell the flavor's there. I think it's just the strawberries just kind of give it that has that sharpness, and then so like the chocolate flavor, it just kind of like sits in the background. But so I think if we just tone down on the strawberries a little bit, it'll kind of like balance itself out even more.
All right, 2 more questions. One, can you see yourself drinking more than one of these a night, or do you think that? Yeah, I do too.
I can definitely. Yeah.
I don't think this is one of those you drink one and you're just like fucking so full that you can't drink, a 6-pack. I think I would destroy a 6-pack.
Yeah, I can see myself doing that too.
And then 2, scale 1 through 5. What would you rate this?
I would give it a solid 3.
Okay. Yeah, he's right in the middle. I was going to go a little bit higher because I really like Stout, so I could just be a little bit biased. But yeah, I think this is probably one of the best beers that we've done, so I'm super thrilled. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time. Cheers. We want to make sure we mention 40 minutes in.
What are you
the motherfucker's dancing back there.
I was flapping like my armpits.
You airing them out?
Yeah, it was.
It's hot.
Bro, look at him walking around like a fucking chicken.
That's what I was thinking too.